I find some research scholars and the students of this university present here. Friends from media, both print and electronic. Friends, ladies and gentlemen. I am a proud Osmanian. I owe my career, my existence to this great institution. I have been very carefully and critically following, watching the things that were happening here right for some time. Wherever I was discharging my constitutional duties and obligations to the country. I am fully conversant with the sequence of events, the intensity, and everything else. It is very difficult to structure the activities and thinking of any professor. They are basically anarchists, and they are to be. Otherwise, as the distinguished educationist and veteran freedom fighter, and a young man of 80-year-old, would not have said that if you are not teaching politics, I mean the political processes, then you are not a teacher. I fully subscribe to the view expressed by Sri Chukaram. But why did I say that the professors are anarchists? Professor Lakshman, I think, stands a testimony and example for that. He came to me and presented this compilation of articles written by eminent professors of this university. And said, would you mind to give forward to this book? I said, the pleasure would be mine. I would certainly write a forward. The meeting ended, and as promised, I gave him the forward within maybe perhaps a week. It's a long forward. After 2-3 days, he comes and tells me, sir, we are on such and such a date, we are releasing the book, and you will come and release the book. This is something very strange. It never happens. The person writing the foreword is to come and release the book. That is Professor Lakshman. But I thought it's an opportunity. It's a great opportunity to come and share my random thoughts with a distinguished audience like this, consisting of a galaxy of professors, teachers, research scholars, students. Being a lifelong student of constitutional law, which is again nothing but I may submit to Mr. Ramayya, a basic political, social and economic law. It's not a book. It's our way of life. Essentially, it deals with the democratic processes. I will take a little time of yours to present the constitutional dimension of the issue. Because we keep on hearing the expressions like consensus for carving out the state. Then we keep on hearing about state cannot be carved unless the majority of the people of the state opt for such a division. 3, unless the political parties favorably express their opinion. 4, the political parties of the country take some definite stand on the issue. And some intellectuals, thinkers, they are no strangers to us, they are also our friends coming from the other region, also raised an argument, unless the majority of the states in the country agree for the division of the state, it cannot be done. Therefore, Pranab Committee, Sri Krishna Commission, Azad Committee, political parties' resolutions, etc., etc., etc. Unending and perpetual process. Essentially, the issue of Telangana is a moral issue. I think that was the sum and substance of the tenacious argument which we have heard from the distinguished educationists in Norway. The preamble to the Constitution speaks about we, the people of India, constitute ourselves into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. For what purpose? To achieve liberty of thought and expression, fraternity, equality, social, economic and political, in that order. Then the very first article, the opening article in the Constitution, Article 1 says, India, that is Bharat, is a union of states and its territory is the territory of all the states and the union territories. Parliament may by law add any new state into the Indian Union. Parliament may by law alter the boundaries of any existing state, delete any part of territory of existing state and merge it into another state, carve out a new state. But there are certain conditions. What are the conditions? The first condition is no bill giving effect to what has been provided in Article 3 shall not be presented to the Parliament without the recommendations of the President. And the views of the concerned state is not updated, not the concurrence, not the unanimous opinion. It has to be sent to the concerned legislative assembly for its views. And it further provides the boundaries of the states. Each of the states are mentioned and delineated in Schedule C. This alteration of carving of the state shall not be considered to be a constitutional amendment requiring the consent or the ratification by any of the states. Therefore, friends, where from we got this idea of consensus, where from this we got this idea of majority of the states in the country accepting it? Where from we got the idea that the state itself shall ratify and express its opinion for carving of the state? Permit me to say, maybe it's a strong expression coming from the person who once held the office of the judge of the Supreme Court. It's nothing but fraud on the Constitution. There is no such place for such a procedure or such a device. Parliament no doubt has to consider. It has to take its inputs. Whether it would be a viable state, whether the population is sufficient to constitute Telangana into a separate state, whether it had the resources, whether it has its own distinct culture, its heritage. These are the factors that are required to be taken into consideration by the Parliament. And what happened in this case? President in 2004, immediately after the elections, makes a solemn announcement in the House that all efforts shall be made for carving out the separate state. Do we expect that the President to go back that solemn declaration that was made on the floor of the House? Because there is one other condition. That condition is fulfilled. And second, a democratically elected government, after ascertaining the views, the opinion of the people, came to a definite conclusion and made the announcement on December 9th that the process of carving out the state has begun. Then comes the great act of betrayal. Then comes the great act of sabotage. Then comes the use of all available resources at their command to sabotage the cause. As a student of constitutional law, I find it to be very, very strange to swallow this argument of consensus, blah, blah, blah. The fundamental duty of the citizen, which the Constitution says, is to protect the sovereignty and integrity of India not any particular state. Look at the oath that is administered to the President of India, the Prime Minister of India, the Council of Ministers, the judges of the Supreme Court, the Election Commission, the Comptroller and Auditor General, the Chief Minister of the state, the Governor of the state, the judges of the High Court. Their oath is to protect the sovereignty and integrity of India, not the territorial integrity of a given state. That oath is not administered even to the Chief Minister and the MLAs. Member of the Legislative Assembly also doesn't take any oath that I will protect the integrity of the state and its boundaries. Because India, that is Bharat, is a union of states. The union is indestructible. The states are destructible. That's what happened. Otherwise, there would not have been States Reorganization Commission. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been so many states carved out after the Constitution has commenced. These are too fundamental. But even the fundamental principles of rule of law and constitutionalism has been perverted so far as the issue of Telangana.